What if I told you that I have never played a Donkey Kong game before Donkey Kong Bananza? That's right, it was my first ever Donkey Kong game, so this review is from a newbie's perspective. Don't worry, there are no major spoilers in this video. Now, what exactly pulled me towards this specific Donkey Kong game? Well, it was the obvious connection with Super Mario, which is my main franchise. Pauline being in this game as a teenager, with the level design looking extremely similar to her hit game, Super Mario Odyssey, really just made it obvious that these two games are connected within the same timeline. And I love Super Mario Odyssey, so I knew I had to pick it up. It almost seems like they were trying to pull the Mario fanbase to this game, along with the DK fanbase. In this review, I'm going to be going over the mechanics, level design, arts, performance, difficulty, replayability, and the lore. Prepare yourself because I'm going to be comparing it to Super Mario Odyssey a lot. Anyways, let us begin. Let's start with the mechanics, where I'll discuss movement and abilities. The main gimmick of the game is that you can destroy almost anything, from terrain to even buildings. You can often find hidden gold, fossils, sub-levels, or even bananas if you search in the right places. I also love that you can punch in any direction from where you stand. On top of that, you can even rip terrain out of surfaces to surf across the environment or even construct your own path. Movement is the core of platformer games. If the movement sucks, the game sucks. But thankfully, that is not the case for Donkey Kong Bananza, as movement and the camera are very smooth. By default, you can climb almost anything in this game, and that itself already implies that there are multiple ways to play outside of the intended way. On top of that, surfing offers a lot too. You can get speed boosts, defy annoying enemies, or even surf across lava, poison, and spikes too. Mario Odyssey has Cappy movements, which are great, don't get me wrong, but it does not compare to Bananza's movement since it allows you to go virtually anywhere. And let's not forget DK's actual abilities, which are activated by Pauline's singing, the Bananzas. The Kong Bananza allows you to handle terrain a lot quicker and easier, which is useful in various situations since terrain progressively gets stronger throughout the game. The Zebra Bananza allows you to run across almost any surface and even charge dash into obstacles. The Ostrich Bananza allows you to fly, which is already crazy to have on top of climbing and surfing. The Snake Bananza allows you to get higher jumps and slow down time, which is extremely useful for when enemies and stage hazards aren't really giving you enough time to think. And finally, the Elephant Bananza allows you to suck up all terrain and shoot it out of your trunk. This makes it really easy to farm pretty much anything. So yeah, on top of the default movement in this game, you are offered with all of these other abilities, which really diversifies the ways you can play this game. It allows you to fully customize your journey. So in a way, it's already hard not to enjoy the game if you are constructing your own mission. Next up, let's talk about the level design, such as how they're set up and the variety. So it's pretty self-explanatory. The game has open world levels known as layers with linear progression. This is almost exactly like Super Mario Odyssey with its kingdoms. The only difference is that each layer is broken up into sub-layers, and each sub-layer has its own components. Let's look at the freezer layer, for example. We have a sub-layer that's all ice, and a sub-layer that's all fire. I wonder what this reminds me of. So, in a way, the game is emphasizing linear progression over open world, which for me isn't an issue mainly because if we go back to the mechanics, we have free will wide open in this game. So a little linearity doesn't bother me, it all balances out. There's lots of diversity in the layers, so I wouldn't worry about redundancy at all. And unlike Odyssey, they are more balanced in length, like we don't have that many small layers compared to small kingdoms. Side note, I love how some of the layers in DK Bananza resemble kingdoms from Super Mario Odyssey. The freezer layer is basically the snow kingdom if it wasn't a hot pile of literal trash, and the jungle layer is the lost kingdom if it was way bigger. And if you want to travel from layer to layer, just find this warp gong in any layer and select where you want to go. It is essentially the Odyssey vehicle of this game. And finally, just like Mario Odyssey again, we have closed world sub-levels that defy the open world. These are completely optional to do if they aren't your cup of tea, but they just add to the experience of the game. Lots of them refer to past Donkey Kong games. Some are even challenges that involve using the Bananza powers. So we have way more than just the open world levels, and it really adds to the diversity. Before we move on to the arts, I just want to thank you for watching the video up to this point. Since you're already here, just subscribe and like the video, or else a giant eel will eat you in your sleep. I mean, what? Anyways, moving on to arts, where I talk about visuals, music, and cosmetics. I mean, there's not much to say. The art style is beautiful in the game, and the quality of the Nintendo Switch 2 console just complements that even more. We can see that the art style is kinda different from Mario Odyssey, but both are great in their own ways. Like, it's not something I'd compare directly. The soundtrack for the game is also pretty solid. A lot of it was extremely similar to stuff you'd hear in Super Mario Odyssey. The game in total has 110 songs, and they can be listened to at any getaway via discs. We also have songs from Pauline for every Bananza transformation, and they're all pretty catchy. Pauline and Donkey Kong also have lots of outfits and skins you can buy throughout the game to customize them. Some of them give you perks such as banana buffs or higher currencies, but even if you want to play by aesthetics, that's fine too. I never saw myself in any dire situations from not utilizing certain outfit perks. It's not something I'd overthink about if you get the game and just want to enjoy the outfits as they are. Now, let's talk about the performance. For the most part, the game runs pretty smoothly. There are no bugs, nor will you experience any crashes. However, there is a very, very small issue. Sometimes you will experience lag, but it's very minimal. Like, it doesn't affect your gameplay in the slightest. Everyone is saying Donkey Kong Bananza has performance issues, but they are literally the tiniest little lag spikes ever. From my experience, the lag was most noticeable in the final boss battle, which I won't show for obvious reasons. But that's the only time it would be an issue, I'd say. It is disappointing that it's even there, but it really doesn't affect the game at all. Moving on to difficulty. Is it balanced? Does it respect the player's time? Well, you're in luck. I'll give my input as someone who played the game at normal difficulty. The game starts off on the easier side, almost too easy at first. But the difficulty gradually increases as you progress, especially leading into the final boss. This applies not just to the main quests, but to the optional closed world levels as well. Some of those stages were a total breeze, while others, such as this level, had me pulling my hair out. Tell me this isn't just a much worse version of the Mario Galaxy Bomb challenges? It's also worth noting the items. If you're carrying apple juice, it'll automatically restore your health when it hits 0. Balloons can keep you from falling into the void. These can definitely make tough sections more manageable. While some might see that as babying the player, these items are entirely optional to have in your inventory. Same goes for the assist mode. If you want the full challenge, you're free to ignore both of those. Overall, the game isn't easy, nor is it hard. It's perfectly balanced since there's always a get out of jail free card if things get too stressful, if you choose to use it. As for respecting your time, absolutely. Checkpoints are generously placed, much like in Super Mario Odyssey. Aside from major boss fights, you can usually quit and jump back right in where you left off, which makes it super easy to play at your own pace. Now, let's talk about replayability. Is there any reason to go back after beating the main story? Well, yes there is. Again, it's like Super Mario Odyssey where you unlock a lot more collectibles once you beat the game. There are 777 total bananas, so it's only best if you go for them all. There are also outfits that can only be obtained post-game, but I won't spoil these. It's also worth mentioning that much like Mario games in the past, DK Bananza has a secret final level which is supposed to be the most difficult level in the game. You find out about this after you beat the story. I won't go into too much detail though, not that I can because I haven't even made it to that yet. So yeah, it's nice that they're keeping up with post-plot engagement and wanting us to finish the game off with a bang. And finally, my favorite topic, the lore. How are the characters' dynamics in this game? What does this game say about the entire storyline of Super Mario games? Let me just start off by saying that the character dynamics in this game go beyond what I've seen in Super Mario Odyssey. DK encountered Pauline and just took her in as a daughter figure and became very overprotective of her. They remind me of Ralph and Vanellope, which makes sense because the game itself was cinematic as a whole. It truly felt like I was in control of a Disney movie. And finally, the storyline. Pauline being a child here technically makes no absolute sense whatsoever. Younger Cranky Kong was the one capturing adult Pauline in the old games, and now he's old in this game while Pauline is still a child. This can be confusing. A good theory is that the lady from the original Donkey Kong game wasn't actually Pauline, but Pauline's grandmother, who she does mention quite a bit in the game's dialogue. It would also line up with Cranky Kong aging. She was never named in the past games and was only referred to as Lady. Even if that doesn't make sense, let's just backtrack to what Rosalina said all the way back in Super Mario Galaxy. The cycle of life continues, but it never repeats itself in quite the same way, so we'll see. Maybe this is just an entirely different timeline, even different from Super Mario Odyssey. Maybe Pauline and DK are truly best friends forever in this reality, while in our normal reality, they aren't on the best terms. I've always imagined that this specific Rosalina scene exists simply to justify decisions like this later on. And it works, honestly. The devs clearly wanted to prioritize fun. I don't blame them. That is my interpretation of the storyline. So yeah, that's my final ranking. Overall, there is nothing I can complain about regarding the game. I hope my review, as a newbie, encourages other newbies to step out of their horizons and experience this game. I truly do recommend picking it up. Anyways, thank you for watching and see you next time. Peace out.